everywhere.
Hey guys, this is Jennifer from the Shooter's Mindset. We are live with episode 343. We're going to talk about the Barrel Maker Classic. We've got Ken and Missy Wheeler and Nate Whitehead, but first we've got our co-host this week, Greg. How's it going?
Good.
And we've got Paul with us. How are you, Paul?
Been a great week. Glad to be here again.
That's good. How's that air conditioning?
Oh, it's awesome. It has rained every day for 2 weeks, like 3 or 4 hours a day down here.
Here
I don't
too.
know what's going on, but it is just, it will not stop raining.
Yeah, it's been raining here too every day. Yeah, all of us down in the south. But from the northern part of the country, we have Nate Whitehead. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing well. And we have the famous Wheelers, Ken and Missy. How are y'all?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Good.
We're good. Thank you. Thank you.
I have to point out that Ken and Nate have matching shirts.
Get plates, get dates.
Yeah, not Ken and Missy, but Ken and Nate have matching shirts.
That's an officially sanctioned PRS shirt that I don't think anybody bought, except for us.
Except for us. Yep.
And Paul's wearing the baby blue too, so I missed the memo. I have blue, but it's like
Whoa. Okay.
Whoa.
dark,
It's not that kind of show, Jen.
dark blue. Hey, at least I'm wearing pants.
Ratings are ratings.
You're not wearing pants. You're wearing a dress, right?
Yeah, about to say, you are definitely not wearing pants. We saw you before.
Well, that's true, but I have coverings.
We've been live for 30 seconds and we have already completely derailed.
Yes, we've already gone south, totally off of the show notes.
Did we expect this to go any other way?
No, not at all. All right, but to get back on, so for anybody that's unfamiliar with you, I want to go one at a time, and each of you tell us a little about yourself and how you got into the shooting world.
I think Nate should start. He's the one that got me into it.
Oh, all right. Well, Ken and I actually grew up together in a little town right outside of Lansing, Michigan. I got into precision rifle shooting back in 2009, I think. The Army kind of led the way for that. And then I got Ken into it in 2010, 11, something like that. And actually, he ended up getting me into matches back in 2017. He got in before I did. So I shot a number of PRS matches in 2018, and it kind of stumbled upon me to start running matches of my own up in Lake City here in Michigan at Marksmanship Training Center. Ken kind of twisted my arm into it, and my wife has been regretting it ever since. But it's a lot of fun. I have a ton of great guys that shoot with us. Same thing with Wisconsin. Ken's got some awesome people there. You know, great, good Midwesterners. You can't beat them. And then let's see, 2019, we ran the Barrel Maker, of course. That was our first Pro Series match. Then we added the Great Lakes match last year. And then this is the second year of that. So it's where I'm coming from.
I'm looking at Adam Leenberger's comment. Hi, Adam.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. He said we look like a couple that's going through a divorce. That's not close enough. Hi, everyone. I'm Missy Wheeler. I am the other half of Team Wheeler. We run WPRSC, or Wisconsin Precision Rifle Steel Challenge, for our club, and we also host the Barrel Maker Classic. And I shoot maybe 3 times a year, and just run around at matches when I'm not shooting. Yeah. So I don't have any kind of record or history.
Yeah, I actually started shooting in 2016. I had shot like a couple outlaw matches, and then the first WPRSC match, which was hosted by John Chitko, who ran it for a couple years, and then I shot almost every match. And then in 2018, John basically said, "Hey, I got a lot going on in life, and things are going a different direction for me and his career and all that, and said, well, why don't you just take this over? And I mean, structurally or organizationally, I thought I could do it. And I should have asked for permission, but I didn't think it would get this out of control. Yeah, so Nate came over and helped a couple times that year with a couple matches. And then that was back when Ryan Castle was in charge of things. And I remember Nate and I having a call with him in like August about hosting a Pro Series match. And we're like, yeah, we can do this. This is no problem.
Easy.
And, yeah, easy. We could set up a couple hundred people, whatever. And yeah, from that point on, it was like we're in over our heads, way over our heads. Well, that first year was. Now it's getting easy.
Yeah, your buddy John sobered up. Is what he did.
Yeah,
he sobered up.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I went through that same thing. You know what? I want match director on my resume. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's on there only once.
You know, it's funny you say it too, because you know, in the spring of 19 or February 19, we went down to K&M, and that was right after Shannon had taken control of the PRS. And I remember sitting there with Nate and Shannon at K&M and talking about it. And Shannon's like, whoa, you guys just pump the brakes, slow down, don't burn yourself out. I'm like, got this. I'm surprised we're still married after that first year.
You got a good woman.
Better than I deserve. And Nate even pointed it out. Nate's an asshole, but he pointed out how much I was an asshole. So, yeah.
Yeah, if there's ever an excuse for being an asshole, it's being a match director. I'm going to tell you right now, that is the most thankless job. Well, the only more thankless job would be owning the PRS, which, you know, I don't agree with everything Shannon's done, but, you know, God bless him, he can have it, because that is like being a match director 365 days a year.
Yeah.
And, I enjoyed it, but I would never do it again. Never.
It's a lot of work, I'm sure. We're going to talk a little bit later in the show about
taking control of the PRS.
A lot of work, I'm sure. We're going to talk a little bit later in the show about
You've got their audio on.
There. No problems.
Great.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit later about like what it takes to do a match, because I think a lot of people don't realize. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. But for now, if I can get back to my questions, y'all both run regional series. You kind of spoke a little bit about it. Michigan and Wisconsin have PRS regional series that y'all run, but you have a really good working relationship, the two clubs. How did that partnership come about? Is it just because y'all were friends to start with? And
Ken couldn't do it on his own.
He called up and said, help.
Yep, pretty much.
I did say that. Yeah, I honestly did. Yeah, I asked for help right off the bat. I'll admit that.
No, more hands makes easy work. You know, it collaborate on a whole bunch of stuff. You know, sponsor stuff, target designs, target manufacturing. We collaborate on a whole bunch of stuff, and it just makes it easy because we're spreading the workload.
Yeah, for sure. There's stuff we've gotten fabricated or you know, designed ourselves, and our props, anything. I mean, if you know, there's things that I can do over here because I'm associated with a lot of manufacturing with my job and all that you know, I take on for Nate. Yet, you know, and Nate has more opportunity with computer, and you know, he pulls together all the formatting for the match books and sponsor stuff, and you know, handles a lot of that. I mean, if you look at it, we have a shared spreadsheet that, you know, for hitting up sponsors, and like 90% of it's all Nate, 10% of the people that I'm friends with, you know. It really does help share the workload. But, you know, we've been friends since probably 94, maybe. I'm guessing 93. 94. Yeah, way, you know, long time.
Y'all are that old?
Feeling it, that's for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, we just been friends forever, and stayed in touch when, Nate was overseas and I was in college, and we've always just kind of helped each other out with things. So it's been good, and then it's interesting. I'll say this, both of us being match directors, in that I think we each have our own styles. I'll say I think every match director has their own style, the kind of match they want to put on. And I think we balance each other exceptionally well. Nate really likes to get into people's heads and make them, stress and have to think a lot to be able to execute a stage. And, I am probably a little bit more on the typical side of things, where I like to design a stage that gets shooters to have to move and have to get in maybe unique positions, or stress them out with the actual position and movement and time management and all that. All the blind stages we've had have all been Nate's idea, with me kind of like pulling the reins back, like, man, we're never going to get another shooter to come back to Wisconsin if we run that stage, That's the thing. So yeah, I think it works out really well. And I think this being the third year of the Barrel Maker, like, it's even a little, like, the first year we had some crazy ideas and stuff that I'm surprised we had as large a turnout as we did last year. Last year we had a couple crazy ideas. I think this year, Nate and I reviewed the Course of Fire 2 weeks ago when we were out in Utah. There's nothing in here crazy, but there's a lot of unique stress situations, that are going to make it challenging, I guess. But no blind stages, none of that.
It's difficult, because when you say, hey, I'm going to put on a PRS match, the first thought that goes to your head is, I don't want my match to be like everybody else's match. So then your imagination starts running wild at midnight when you can't sleep, and you're thinking about having people, on a skateboard down a hill shooting, and the next thing you know, you've created stages, and you go, nobody's going to be able to shoot these. So trying to figure out how to make it interesting and different without making it so freaking hard that nobody wants to come back. I was at the match at Rifles Only where the winner shot 47%. And I will assure you, there was not one happy person that left that match, including the winner. Okay, so that is the first most difficult thing you face as a PRS match director, is how do I make this different without making it ridiculously hard? And we consider, and you guys can nod your heads because you can understand exactly what I'm saying, but until you've tried to do it, you cannot appreciate how hard it is to try to come up with new ideas that are not really hard or really easy ideas. So everything I've heard about y'all's match has all been really positive. So y'all are obviously doing a really good job.
Thank you.
Another thing that I found out is when you try to get more creative, it ends up costing you more work and time too. Mm-hmm. So like the more creative you try to get with it, it might turn out bad for the shooters, and it's going to definitely turn out bad for you because it just takes all that much more effort. So over the few years we've been doing this, it's kind of been dialed back a little bit. Like, all right, we got to focus on where our efforts are going, and conserve our energies, because otherwise we're going to burn ourselves out before we even get to match day.
Yeah, that whole, I'm going to have 16 different targets on one stage. And then you go out there and you start trying to figure out how to make 16 targets visible without one behind the other and one above the other. You go, you know what? This is not going to work. Mm-hmm. You sober up pretty quickly.
You also got to be careful about overworking your ROs as well. There's RO in the PRS skill stage, like, you set your glass on that one target and you count to 8 and that's it. But, when you have one of these that's, 37 hidden targets and, the shooter has to draw a stack of cards and memorize their shooting order. Well, so does your poor RO.
Yep.
So on that note, man, both Nate and I have a guy, he's a Wisconsin guy, Tim Knorr. Shout out to him. We think this dude just gets off on that. So having a shooter memorize, or last year last year for our blind stage at here in Wisconsin. And I think the quote was, "You have all the time in the world to ask for questions. You're on the clock. Let's go." And, like, there's no problems just putting people in that situation. Like, it's what it is. You can ask questions all day long.
I'm not saying they're they are more of a challenge to shoot, but like, your shooter has to do it once, but like, man, does it stink to RO stages like that.
Yep. Well, we got a good RO that does that type of thing, and I think he enjoys it. But yeah, we'll have him on a decent stage this year. That's for sure. Probably boring. Yeah.
That's awesome. So the Great Lake region in PRS is new this year. What does that mean for y'all's matches and series?
So last year we hosted the Midwest regional finale. Midwest went all the way over to Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and all the way west to past it. The Dakotas were in there, Missouri, Iowa, etc. And up to last year, that was a good sized region. We had, there was just enough shooters out of all those states that could support having their own region and points race. And we hosted the regional finale up here in Wisconsin in October, and it was on Saturday. And on Sunday, we decided and we planned this out, but we hosted what we called the Great Lake Shootout, which was Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, and Indiana, and basically the best shooters from those states shoot the match, and then we total up points at the end, dropping out a couple shooters on the bottom, averaging the guys in the middle and counting the top, and that went over really well, and I think it created a pretty unique situation amongst those four states where the shooters know each other, the MDs certainly know each other. We get along really good. We have side conversations and Messenger and all that. So we had a lot of fun with it. We all know each other pretty well and like competing against each other, and that facilitated a conversation in late December with Shannon. That's he asked what we're doing, how things are going, and what the relationship was like, and we said, hey, I think we're at a point where we're big enough to have our own region here. So, and it made more sense to do that too, because we were at a point where the shooters and now the Great Lakes region, there's enough of us, we know each other, we want to compete against each other, and we're not competing against guys that are in like far western Missouri or Kansas, and that we don't get a chance to shoot against very often. They're 12, 14-hour drive away. So, having enough shooters in the area and knowing each other, it just made sense that we could have our own region. So, and Shannon concurred, that said that we've grown enough. We have, we've matured enough and enough shooters. The MDs are well seasoned. We have a good reputation, and said, yeah, you guys should have your own region. So it's been a lot of fun. We have our first, this is the first year of it, obviously, and we have our first finale coming up in October. Adam Leonberger and Fred Mudd are going to host it. We actually picked up Western Kentucky because they're part of the same sort of shooting community with us. So, and it should be a great match. It's going to be at Fred Mudd's range, and Adam Leonberger is going to help out hosting it, and they put on great matches. And I can't say enough about our region and the guys at the MDs here that put on really fun matches. And some of them are limited. Like Adam at Red Brush in Indiana, he's only out to 550, 575, and his matches are a lot of fun. You think PRS, you need to have like 1,000-yard stage, and I assure you don't. And he does a great job. And obviously Nate's got 1,000-yard plus range. We have, most of our matches are 800. There's 600 in Illinois. But everyone's a little bit different and a lot of fun. So it's really it's really a good region to have. I'm pretty proud of what we've built. And I say that we as in all the MDs in the region.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think you can really have a good match if it's well done with the right size targets and the right amount of movement and all of that. Yeah. You can have fun matches within 600. I mean, there was one local here that they did, and it was, what was the farthest, Greg? 600? You're muted.
Oh, Greg.
Sorry. You're talking about Jarrett?
Yes. Anyway, whatever it was.
6 or was it 8?
I don't remember. There might have been 1 8. I can't.
Well, no, there was the one stage that they just
tank trap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where the well digging guy was.
Yeah, that's right. But the majority of the match was all within 600, and it was a super fun match. I mean, a lot of small targets, there were even a lot of 300 to 400 yard, but it was tricky. It was a tough match, and I think everybody came out going, "Wow, I didn't expect that to be a tough match," and it was. So you can do a lot with it if you're creative.
Yeah, and Fred's range, I call it Turkey Town, or it's Turkey Creek. I don't know. Yeah, I like calling it Turkey Town, whatever. It's there in Kentucky. Yeah, he has he's got a nice place where he's hosting a regional finale. I think it's only maybe 700, 800 yards. I went down there and shot it in June, basically to sort of pregame it, because I'm hoping to take home the production trophy and this for our region. And I want our guys to shoot really well there. So it's sort of doing a little bit of recon for the Great Lakes shootout that we'll do, that hopefully Wisconsin will win again. But yeah, he's a good match director with a nice range, nice props. And he's a really level-headed match director. So yeah, it should be good. And hopefully, we all make it down there. The whole region is, like I said, Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, part of Western Kentucky. Jonathan Trice is the match director for Illinois. He's been there for a lot of years. There's so much experience up here that, we really are a mature region. That's for sure.
So one of the big things in your region is the pro match that y'all are doing together, the Barrel Maker Classic. So that, as we said before, is a great match that I got to shoot it the last 2 years. This is my first year not shooting it. I'm very sad. But it's a lot of fun, and it's really a great venue. So tell us a little bit about that match, and how did it come to be where it is located? How did you pick a winery as the location? So for anybody that doesn't know, this match is done at a winery.
I love wine. That's excellent.
We actually got kind of lucky. We got really lucky. So in 2018, our WPRSC, the Wisconsin PRS regional series that we host, the previous match director moved us up there because the range we were on was going to get some development with the NRA and all this, and turn into a better range, and it did. But we ended up moving up there to host our Wisconsin matches, and then and actually we only shot on a strip of land that was maybe 30 yards wide and 1,000 yards long, and we'd start at 600 and then move back to 1,000, and there's 40 of us that shot there. But like I said, the previous match director kind of coordinated getting us in there, and then we started paying to host matches there. And when we approached them to host a PRS event, they were sure, take it over. So then one of our members, Garrett G, and then Nate came up, and we basically scouted the whole property. The whole property is 600 to almost 700 acres. Part of it being a winery. Part of it is the main business for them is it's an upland bird club. So October to May, they have sorghum fields and corn fields and you name it. It's all cover crop that they plant to host bird hunters. So they'll have, big 40-acre fields that they release a whole bunch of birds in. Bird hunters go out there with the dogs and do their thing. So Nate came up in the wintertime, and with all the trees all the leaves off the trees, we were able to really scout out and plan 10 stages on one side of the property and 10 stages on the other. And then we got to work. It was, we had several weekends up there where we just cut lanes, cutting down really big mature trees. Had several dozen guys out there that are our members that wanted to see us grow and put this thing on. So they, we had, you were there at that first barrel maker, Jen. I estimated we probably had 500 man hours into the day one course of fire, which is on one side of the property. And at that point, it was that one day was the only time a year we would use that side of the property. And then 3 hours in, we're rained out, like terrible rain, torrential downpour, storms. So it was a kick in the gut, at least 500 man hours. And then it was like, well, we're done. So then,
heartbreaking.
It was. Nate and I, the week we were still cutting trees, trying to get targets in and stages in. And I bet we worked 60 hours, Monday through Thursday that week out there, 15-hour days, and then just for nothing, we ended up throwing out all the stages for that day, and then we had basically an accelerated day 2, where all the points counted. So, so it's a really unique location. Like I said, 600 plus acres. That if you come here, it's crazy the amount of landscaping that goes into this place, and the amount of trees that were taken down, and the amount of grass being cut. I'm posting all the time about Missy just riding a lawnmower up there. You probably have 50 hours so far this year, and we got one more cutting to do. We got to hit the whole property one more time next week.
Chad Heckler actually commented and said that Missy should be on the lawnmower right now.
Probably, yeah. Who said that?
Chad Heckler.
Yeah.
I almost messaged her earlier this week and asked if she wanted to come over. My yard looks like a jungle right now.
Probably the only time she doesn't hear the kids just yelling, "Mom, Mom, Mom."
No, because yesterday, so we picked up last night, so that we don't have to mow then until next week. And our son, so Joni was riding around with Ken, and our son was riding around on his little 4-wheeler. And, he's got like the big full face helmet, and he'd still roll up next to me, and he's trying to talk to me, and he's spaced apart from me. He's got the helmet on. I'm on the lawnmower. I can't hear anything.
His 4-wheeler's running.
Yeah, his 4-wheeler's running. And it's like, what, buddy? So I stop, and he'll be like, "Did you see that bird flying over there?" Like, oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mom's got work to do.
So the property we have, I know guys are thinking, or shooters are thinking, I should say guys, but and I think it was John Pinch last year even said he's like, and I think he's in the landscaping business and all that. It's like, place is a jungle, and somehow we maintain it, So it's one of those things. If you come shoot at the Highlands, it's a beautiful place. None of the stuff would be groomed if it wasn't for us riding mowers and trimming trees and all that. And I think it's fun. I don't know. Yeah.
It is fun and it's beautiful. And I will say, having gone the last 2 years, I saw huge differences the second year from the first year. Like, it was evident that y'all put a ton of work in.
Yeah. You should
we did a oh my God. How long was that after action review we wrote up, Ken? Like 10 pages?
At least.
We identified everything that needed work. Any failure points that we had, we identified and tried to address. We put a lot of effort into trying to make it that much better.
Well, the first year you kind of had a rough deal. I mean, who expects to have tornadoes? And they're literally, for anybody that doesn't know the story, they literally had tornadoes on day.
Yeah, just
day one. Day one.
Just north of the property, there was tornadoes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they had to really take into account like shooter safety, but shooter satisfaction. And I know y'all really struggled over that and trying to decide what to do. So you kind of got handed a raw deal the first year. But the second year, and I didn't think the first year was bad. I mean, it was the weather. Y'all couldn't have helped that. But the second year just ran like, I mean, it was smooth as butter.
Awesome.
Smooth as what?
Butter.
I'd say the first year is where it got the nickname the Wisconsin Mammoth.
Yeah, I think I saw Swanee post that.
Yeah, Swanee posted that.
Nate, you should describe this situation. I love when Nate talks about it.
Let's say, and apparently people like when Nate or Missy talks. We've gotten the nickname.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ken's Mindset.
So, what a lot of people forget, well, no, apparently not. Definitely Swanee didn't forget. Like the 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours before we called day one, it was like sweltering hot out. And, you know, I guess Ken probably played into this too, but a lot of it was me. We're looking at like, all right, the amount of walking you got to do. And I'm like, whatever, they can walk it. Ain't no big deal. That's not that far. And it turned out to be like 95 degrees and like 95% humidity. And it was a lot for a lot of guys to handle.
Well, so I was on Swanee's squad and we kind of drew the short straw because we had to walk like the 1.25 miles to shoot one stage and then walk the 1.25 miles back. And we got lost on the way there because somebody's like, I think it's that way. And so we actually walked more like 1.5 miles because we turned the wrong way.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of comedy of errors for our squad. But I don't think everybody had it like that. It was just kind of us. So, I mean, me and Swanee did almost die together. But
well, there was a full color map printed on the back of your matchbook too. So I'm just saying the fact that you guys got lost.
You can't hold their hands. You know, you can plan and plan and plan, but they will defeat your best mate.
It was like turn at the 4th corn row. I mean, it wasn't roads now, so don't make us look too stupid.
So I think the funniest part of that whole thing is the next weekend after that, I shot a match that was ran by somebody else on their squad. And we had orange spray paint lines to follow from stage to stage. He's like, nobody's getting lost this weekend. Because he was the poor one that the old people like Jen and Swanee sent to go run and see, is it down there? Is it down there?
Jeez. So one of the funniest things that I remember about day one is, you know, that heat was a lot on a number of people. But when we were driving up and down that trail that gets you to all of the stages, there is just gear dropped everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just like, just everybody just dropping their shit. And the whole time I'm driving by this stuff, I'm like, if you didn't need that, why'd you have it in the first place?
Well, I dropped mine because we were walking 1.25 miles to shoot one stage and come back. And so about halfway there, I was like, oh, screw this. I'm taking my backpack off. I'll take one magazine, my ears, and my rifle and go, and one bag.
Let's see, bring a
I
bag.
can get by with my wee bad fortune cookie. And so that's what I did. I just took the wee bad fortune cookie and the mag, and I was happy then.
I wasn't in the military, but I'm guessing that's what non-commissioned officers do in the desert over there where you were, is keep you from dropping your stuff that you want to drop them. So you needed a sergeant to walk behind all those people and tell them to pick their crap up.
Yep. I should have been on top of everybody. Hey, pick that up. You can't just drop that there.
But hey, that was old school. And year 2, y'all had people movers.
Yep.
It was awesome. You just get on and ride.
Thank you.
Well, one of the things that we identified in that after action review is, I'm going to let you in on a secret. We didn't so much get people movers for you guys' comfort as we did match flow. That walk time added way too much time to the match. So it was imperative that we we got people transported back, because otherwise that match was just that day was just gonna drag on and on and on and on. Yeah. So that was I guess, in Ken's mind, that was probably for the shooters. In my mind, that was strictly for match flow.
So Ken is the nice director and you're the mean one.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has his moments.
Clay just said, Jennifer, people movers, AKA vomit inducers.
Great Clay.
Hey, I liked the people movers.
Well, yeah. So actually, that was a huge point of stress last year. We
Friday during check-in.
We bought last year in May. We bought a M35 deuce and a half that had benches and stuff in it.
Thank you, Krieger Barrels.
Yeah, Krieger Barrels sponsored us and picked that up. And we hosted a match in June on that side and got everything worked out. Had the deuce and a half running. We had a dozen shooters, per squad. Carried everybody. It was awesome. Back and forth. I had a guy running it all day. Said, "Yeah, man, the thing runs awesome. Whatever." And we had actually, before I bought it, we replaced like every brake component that was from the master cylinder all the way through. And then it worked great. Whatever. We parked it, and then during Friday check-in, I had the driver that was going to be there for the barrel maker. He's like, "Hey, let's get things fired up, and let me take a lap with it, etc." And we get it, and the brakes like pedal right to the floor. This is Friday afternoon. It was just like panic. I like the feeling I had in my stomach at that moment.
And when we were trying to figure out what was happening, we had also sent two guys to a place where the fire truck had been since the 4th of July getting fixed. So it's like, well, someone's driving it all the way from Richfield. Let's cross our fingers and hope that doesn't fail too.
Oh man, I was watching everything just like fall apart. So thankfully the Highlands of the winery, they had a small bus, so a hotel shuttle bus, so they let us borrow it, thank goodness. But we have the deuce running again though this year. Again, replaced most of the brake components, and we've driven it a couple times up there. So hopefully in 2 weeks or a week and a half, like cross your fingers, everybody will ride around in a deuce and a half. It should be pretty sweet.
Should be fine.
Yeah. So you mentioned Krieger barrels. Y'all have kind of an unusual deal there with more than one barrel maker. Tell us how all that came about.
So, and I say this every time. I love it when people say, "Hey, what barrel?" Like on Facebook or whatever. Like, what barrel should I get? What should I buy? I say anything made in Wisconsin. We have. So I think it started out with Boots Obermeyer. He was the one that I believe developed 5R rifling. But he lived here in Wisconsin. I think he still lives here in Wisconsin. He's way old. I believe, but he taught a couple barrel makers here. I think he taught Mike Rock originally of Rock Creek Barrels. He taught John Krieger and some others, and just like that, we spawned a bunch of barrel makers. There was 7 big ones that support our industry. There's now 6. Broughton went out of business about a year ago, but yeah, it's Brooks, Bartline, Krieger, Muller Works, Rock Creek, and Criterion. That are all, and they're all within 20 miles. It's crazy. I mean, Bartline and Krieger and Criterion are like a 10-minute drive for us.
Rock Creek's probably the furthest away from us, but what's crazy is most of them are close to our home. We're kind of centrally located to where they're all set up. Yeah.
And I think what it is Wisconsin has a big German and Polish heritage, and the Germans and Poles made a lot of equipment and know how to use machines, and they have a really good work ethic. So it's primed to make a precision instrument like a rifle barrel.
And they do. Trust me, I have never used anything but Bartline barrels up until Matt Partain started using Krieger. He got sponsored by Krieger, and I was sponsoring Matt Partain, so he started sending me his Krieger barrels. And when you start measuring them,
yeah,
it's kind of mind-boggling, really. I mean, Bartline and Krieger to me are equal. The Kriegers tend to be a little faster, maybe 30 feet per second, but either one of those barrels could not be described as anything but perfect. And I have chambered hundreds of them, and I've never seen one that was more than 2/10,000ths of an inch out of straight over a 6-inch distance. I mean, they're just, I really don't understand how you can make something that straight. But
very
and I'm not saying anything wrong with the rest of the barrel makers you guys have got. I've not ever used any of those. So, but that's all I've ever used, Bartline and Krieger, and I couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, that's a fact. I can say that all the barrel makers up here come from the same heritage, and they all learn from the same guy in one way or another.
We're really fortunate that when we knew that we were going to host a 2-day, and we decided what it was going to be named before we talked to all of them, that they were really great participants in the idea and with supporting our match. It really was a gamble. I think it was even already on the PRS schedule, and we hadn't even talked to any of them yet.
That's a fact. So one of our members, Josh Biggie, he shoots with us. He's a marketing guy, and he had actually worked at Criterion. So he's a gun guy and marketing. He's like, man, you got to do something with barrel maker or something like that, and we kind of tossed it back and forth, and then we got on the schedule, and then literally it was like, all right, well, let's reach out to our sponsors. and just Midwest is amazing. Everybody we went and talked with, we have a kid issue, so that's going to get handled. Every one of our sponsors has been over the top. They just it's Midwest generous hospitality. If Paul, if you showed up at Bartline at the end of a day, 4 or 5 o'clock on a Friday and wanted to talk barrels, they're gonna stick around and talk barrels. They may even take you out to dinner. They may say, do you have a place to stay tonight? I mean,
they've taken me to dinner, believe it or not. We were at a match somewhere, and these guys said, hey, we want to take y'all to dinner. And we're like, okay. And the guys from Bartline took us to dinner. I don't remember what match it was. I couldn't tell you, it's been too many years ago. But, they were there supporting, representing Bartline. They were just the nicest. You could tell they were old world craftsmen. When, me being a machinist on and off my whole life, you recognize a guy that's just, he's that old world. This is all he's done all his freaking life, is build really nice stuff. Whatever it is, pianos, barrels, something, you can just see it in them, and all those guys were that way. So,
well, I'll say the first year that I went up to Wisconsin, I literally looked at all the matches, and I was like, I want to go somewhere different that I've never been up there. So I just picked that match and didn't really know who was shooting it, and I didn't really know anybody up there. I ended up getting adopted by 3 of y'all's guys, and now I am half Wisconsinian, but anyway, even with my Southern drawl. But when I got up there, I slept in my car the first night because my flight had been delayed, and I didn't get in till 3 a.m. And I was like, I'm not paying for a hotel room for 4 hours. So I literally pulled in a gas station and slept in the back of the rental car. And the next day they had a thing for anybody that was going to the match. Anybody could come to Krieger Barrels and tour the factory, and they had lunch for us. Anyway, it was really cool. And when I went, they were like, you slept in a parking lot? You should have told us. You could have come and we would have, put you up or whatever. And I was like, well, I didn't know anybody. But super, super nice and welcoming. But I thought it was really cool that they did the open their factory up for anybody to come in and see the process and see how they make their barrels. And it was really cool.
Yeah, that's honestly the way it is. We have a number of shooters that come up for even our monthly match. That's 4 or 5 hours away, and we recognize that, and we let them stay in our home. I think maybe it's like this all around the country, but I don't know. At least here in Wisconsin, we really try to cater to our friends and shooters. Actually, Nate, one of the comments Nate made, we've shot a couple matches together, a couple Pro Series matches, and honestly, I can say we cater to our shooters more than any other match I've ever shot. Now, there's a lot of matches I haven't shot yet that I can't wait to go to, like Drew Walters. I know he puts on a fantastic match that really takes care of the shooters, but I think we pride ourselves in that.
Absolutely. That is definitely a point of pride, like providing all of the meals, having activities planned out, having a campsite on site for both of our matches so that you want to hang out, we can hang out. This doesn't have to be a shoot and then get the hell out of here. That's not the kind of environment we're looking to get.
I think for a good match, people want an environment. They don't just want, there are those few people that just want to come, shoot, go back to their hotel, shut the door, not talk to anybody, be antisocial, whatever. But the majority of the shooters want to come, and I think some of the best matches, and that was one of the questions that we had, is what do you think makes a really good match? I think that having the experience is a lot of it. I mean, there are those that are there to win. They're there to, I'm going to come in and bring my A game and try and be the top. We can't all be Chad Heckler, but anyway, because he's one of those that's at the top. I'm just picking on Chad because I like him a lot. But for most people that are shooting PRS, it's a hobby. It's fun. We just want to hang out with friends. So having an experience, like you said, having a campground there is great. And like y'all had the, I forgot what you called it, but everybody hung out and ate after on Saturday, I think. Yep. And y'all had live music. And so it was kind of the experience.
Yeah. So Nate will talk about his match a little bit. Is structured very similarly, where we try to ensure that we have meals provided basically from Friday when you check in until Sunday at the banquet when you leave. And we're really fortunate that we have a lot of really cool stuff lined up for the Barrel Maker this year. So Friday at check-in, Swanee is going to be bringing his traveling food station extraordinaire, what have you, and he's going to be making coney dogs for everyone. So that'll be pretty much for the whole lunchtime crowd and beyond, and into the evening, essentially until it's gone, I believe, unless I'm overcommitting you right now, Swanee. So thank you very, very much for offering to do that for everyone as they arrive and check in. And then also Krieger Barrels is donating 2 kegs of beer for the Swanee's Coney Dog welcome event. And then Saturday, we'll have breakfast provided for everyone, which I don't know if you're familiar or not. Well, Jen, you are, but our breakfast burritos are amazing.
Pretty legit.
Breakfast burritos?
I never eat breakfast before I shoot a match, ever. I just drink a protein shake. That's usually what I'll do. I don't really eat. But when I go to Wisconsin, I eat
a breakfast burrito.
So I should have signed up for this.
Yeah, we'll have breakfast burritos both mornings, and lunch on Saturday is picked up by Moeller Works. Thank you for your support there. And then dinner is, as soon as shooting is done, everyone will head to the winery, and we have the VIP area sectioned off. And Armageddon Gear is hosting a welcome dinner. So thank you very much, Tom and Charity Fuller and the crew at Armageddon Gear for sponsoring that. It's going to be a brat fry, same as last year. Except we'll have more food. You guys were really hungry last year because by the time I got there, there was not very much food left. So we're gonna have that, and there's live music, kegs of beer, just everyone come and hang out. Super cool atmosphere and venue. And then Sunday, Bartline is picking up the food for the entire day. So breakfast. We're going to do like a snack pack, like a small lunch that we're going to be delivering out, since we anticipate we'll probably go until 3 or 4 on Sunday. And I know a lot of times people just wait and have a late lunch, but with the heat and kind of what we demand of our shooters for how much they have to walk and the terrain and whatnot, we wanted to just give them a little something. So Bartline is picking up all of that for Sunday.
Yeah. Again, we got awesome sponsors, but there's going to be no shortage of beer after the match. Good Wisconsin beer too. We'll have Spotted Cow, but
Point Brewery.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's no like we want the shooters to stick around, hang out. I mean, we're even to the point where Nate and I are designing the course of fire so that between day 1 and day 2, where we're moving from one side of the property to the other, we're limiting anything that needs to move stage wise or setup wise. So yeah, there's a little overlap of target areas that we'll go down, and the day 1 targets literally just take them off, set them on the ground. The day 2 targets, put them up on their posts, right? But that's it. Like we want to be able to take like a half hour, have a crew of 4 or 5 guys help us out, a couple side by sides, go out there, take care of business, and then be able to go socialize, go hang out with everybody. You know,
it's about family for us. Like we put so much time and effort into this, and we also each have full-time jobs and 2 small kids. So they're the only way that we could get something like this to survive and to support it is if it's our family. And if I didn't know most of our shooters and their families as well, it would be difficult for me to find the connection to make all of it worth it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, like here what's awesome to make it worthwhile, like we've become friends with, like you mentioned, Matt Partain, Paul, just a wonderful individual. Like, you know, I can't tell you how many times since the last barrel maker, we'll just get a random FaceTime call. You know, it's Matt doing something fun, you know, and just wants to talk for a few minutes. Or, yeah, I don't know, like hearing how like Greg Bell this year, like he's going to the Montana match this next weekend, and then him and the family are packing up in the RV, and they're going to drive all the way across the country from Montana to here, and you know, for our match. And you know, knowing everybody's little story about how they're getting here and what they're doing, it makes it worthwhile. We're honored, and I said this last year at our, you know, closing ceremonies, but having all these shooters travel to come shoot our match, you know, one that Nate and Missy and I are putting on, like it really is an honor. You know, we've had East Coast guy, I call him East Coast, right? For sure.
Oh my God, Ken! You need to just stop talking.
John Pinch, all right. John Pinch coming to win it last
Keith
year,
Baker.
And Keith Baker, East Coast guy, yeah. Like having these guys travel to come here, like it's an honor, honestly.
That's also what keeps you up till midnight before the match, because you think about that. You're laying there thinking about all the effort these people are making coming to your match. And yep. Oh my God, I don't want to disappoint these people. I don't want to look like a jackass. And people don't understand. They do not understand the pressure that is on a match director, and knowing the time and expense that these people are spending to come shoot your match. And yep. It's not for everybody. I'll just tell you, it is not for everybody.
So go ahead, Missy.
We're pretty fortunate that we actually are not too far away from a lot of towns where there are accommodations available. To make a perfect segue into talking about Nate's match, MTC, the Marksmanship Training Center, where he hosts his matches, is quite a bit more secluded.
It's a destination.
It is definitely a destination match, but also why we are so thankful that Barrel Maker was kind of the trial to get a lot of the kinks out before we did a 2-day, before Nate did a 2-day at his location, because really for our first year last year, it was phenomenal. Everything went so well.
Yeah, that after action report from our match went a long ways to.
Oh yeah. I've told a lot of people that I feel like every match we're doing is getting better. And, you know, the Great Lakes being our third match, Great Lakes last year being our third match. I think we're set up for this Barrel Maker to just we're going to be almost running on cruise control, and it's going to be smoking good match.
Why did you say that?
What? Any problems that come up, Missy, you're going to be able to fix them. So it's all right.
I've told the story before about the heat stroke. The first year I went, and there were no bathrooms on day 2. None. None, zero, nada. So the PRS has come a long way. So now when people come to these matches who have only been shooting for a few years and they think they're inconvenienced because the breakfast burritos are cold, no, let me assure you, this was a different world, when this whole thing kind of started. You guys put on a show now that we couldn't have imagined when I started doing this. I mean, you guys are doing things and providing things that we would have never dreamed anybody would have paid for lunch for everybody. I mean, they wouldn't get a porta potty, much less a sandwich. So, let me assure you that you guys are doing a great job, and the people are lucky to have this quality of match directors now.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, it's funny. One of the things I remember in our first conversation, Nate and I had with Ryan Castle, he's like, if you just make sure everybody gets a meal and nobody has to shit in the woods, you're putting on a good match. You remember that, Nate?
Yeah, it was pretty low bar.
Very, very true. Very true.
We're all like, what about the blind stage? Nobody wants to do a blind stage.
That was interesting. It was fun. So for people that don't know, because I really do think we've hit on it a little bit, but I really do think that people don't realize what all goes into a match. I think it's like at least once a week in one of these beginner PRS pages or whatever, they say, someone says, well, where's all that money going? I mean, it's like a $280 entry fee. They must be millionaires from their match. And I have a lot of friends that match direct, and I know the pain that, I hear, Regina and I are good friends. And so I hear her throughout the year with her match that she does. She's like, oh, this is so much. I'm trying to get this done. And I know she does it well in advance. So like for y'all's, both of them, the Michigan and the Barrel Maker, which, like how early do you have to start planning for these matches? And just you don't have to, talk for 20 minutes about it, but like, what are some of the things that maybe the general public don't quite understand?
There's a ton
that go into putting a match on.
There's a ton. First of all, I'd like to address the, getting all that money. Where does it go?
I know, really.
If they can find out where it goes, please let me know. Because that crap disappears faster than it hits the bank account. You've got, like Paul touched on, you've got Porta-John expenses. I think we had, I want to say at the Great Lakes match, I think it was like $1,500 just for Porta-Johns last year and hand washing stations.
How much was your tent?
Ice.
Yeah.
Ice.
The tent.
Dave and Prentice buy a truckload of ice every year,
Yep. Water, bottled water for the shooters. You're talking hundreds of dollars just in water.
A lot of expenses that are maybe like easier to get sponsorships to help with, like food and shirts and stuff like that, insurance, and what we have to pay to lease the property.
I'll say this after. Yeah, that's a big one. Printer toner is effing expensive. Like, I'm just gonna make some copies of the match book, no big deal. And then it's like, 60 copies in, you're out of toner. You're like, that's $400 of the toner. I'll run to the office supply store and buy $400 more toner.
Times.
I don't want to run out this time.
But yeah, the planning. The planning starts, I would say, right after the first of the year. We get into the planning for both matches. And of course, the Barrel Maker comes first, so the planning is more intense for that. But you gotta call for reservations on if you're gonna have a tent. You got to get the tent. You got to get Porta-John. You got to get all of these reservations done early, because both of these matches are in prime time that people are having other events. So you got to get all of this stuff ironed out months ahead of time, or it's not even going to be available.
I'll touch on this. And I, thank goodness, you don't have to deal with it so much now. But Nate deals a lot with this, and so does Missy. But what goes into a match is text messages, Facebook Messenger, Gmail, I'm surprised we don't get written letters in the mail. But everybody who reaches out that has a question about nonsense, just nonsense. And I say, thankfully.
Hold on. Nobody has a question about nonsense. Stop alienating people, Ken.
Him. He doesn't deal with any of
I'm really just trying to light the fuse for her right now, because you have a full-time job and it's nonstop. Everybody's got, like, oh, just reach out to her on Facebook Messenger, and the same happens to Nate. And it's, you have a full-time job, but it's nonstop. Hey, can I get in your match? Hey, what if I did this? Can I get in your match? I'm trying to ignite you here.
I can remember having a guy contact me 6 different times about he wanted to shoot with his buddy. I want to shoot with my buddy 6 different times. If you put me and my buddy in the squad together, his buddy never signed up for the match. Okay, his buddy didn't want to admit to him that his wife wasn't going to let him come to the match. So he just kept telling him, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there. So 2 days before the match, I'm still getting text messages from this asshole telling me, can I squad with my buddy?
Nope.
So anyway.
That's what goes into a match show. I mean, that's a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. Getting sponsorship.
Oh God, that's all year. You stop as soon as you stop, you're starting back up again.
Yeah.
So it's never ending. It's just a constant getting ready.
We were pretty blessed that we had things pretty buttoned up by the end of last season, that we were able to really slow down and enjoy the end of the year last year. Really November, December, and part of January. That was really nice for us to spend time with our kids, be lazy for us. Like, we are constantly on the go. And you need to recharge. You're just constantly running on empty. So yeah, but otherwise it's pretty much nonstop.
And it feels like if you're like, okay, I'm just gonna turn it off seriously for 2 months, right? I'm gonna play with Legos kids or build model rockets. I started model rockets with the kids, never finished it, but we'll get to it. Seriously, like, just turn it off. And that's right around the time of the year where, like, I need to gather all the expenses from the whole year and, like, document all that
taxes.
Stuff. Mm-hmm. I submitted our taxes to the accountant because I can't even handle it myself anymore. June 30th. Like, it's just not.
That's a wee bit after April 15th.
You can May 17th this year, but so we still filed an extension. But, like, it's just, and I Paul, Paul, I feel like we're brothers that whatever, never, you get it. Like, all of a sudden the first of the year hits and it's like, okay, all right, well, like Nate said, you got to start planning some of these things out. So, like, all right, well, I got to write a check to the place, the hall that we're going to have our banquet. I got to get it in now after the first of the year so that I make sure we get our dates. Okay, so write a check for that. All right, I got to write a check for insurance. All right, now I got to start planning our first regional series match. Okay, what are we going to do for the barrel maker? Who, like, that registration opens up 3 months ahead of time, 4 months ahead of time, or whatever it is. And, like,
additional things too. So, like, we don't have any family anywhere nearby. So every time we have anything shooting related, or even if we just go have work days, I also have to arrange sitters to come to the house and watch kids.
Or we take kids with us.
Or we take the kids with us, and I get those planned out. I have to get those planned out far in advance.
Otherwise we don't do anything. It's just
payment portals. You have to have a payment portal for all these people to send you money. This money doesn't magically appear in your bank account. Somebody has to handle that for you.
Yeah, the website, the credit card processing. We're trying to get a new website up and running right now, and that's a whole other hassle. So it's never ending.
Yeah, literally, we could go live with the website. Well, last week, and I told the web developer, I'm like, not until after the barrel. Like, I can't even think about it until after the barrel maker. Like, if I tried to do that right now, it'd be insane. But I'm sorry, I'm talking the entire time, and I can't help myself. But Nate could probably say the same thing. But after we went out to Utah 2 weeks ago to the Hornady PRC match, like I almost felt blessed that we only have 600 acres to host a match on, and it's only a half hour from the house. Watching what George and Brian did out there, that match is unbelievable. They, Nate, you can talk about this too, but like they had a full size bear target that, a full size bear, I don't know, 6 feet wide, 4 feet tall at 1,700 and some yards. These guys drove all the way to the top of this mountain and then had to hike it down like 100 yards, but it wasn't like, when I mean hike it down, I mean probably like a 30% grade in like sand, cacti, sagebrush.
I was going to say sagebrush everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And this thing ain't made of cardboard, I remember standing on the mountain there with Nate, and we're looking around like, Brian rolls up in a side-by-side, like, Brian, how did you get that target out there? Like, there's no road that goes up there, and I can tell it's, the road, the hillside's like this, and the target's halfway down. Do you go to the top and hike down, or what do you do? And he's like, oh, we packed that in. I'm like, how?
Viking powers.
Yeah, it must be.
And they probably had like 80 to 100 targets out there.
Yeah.
And probably 25% of them were on hillsides.
At least.
The amount of work that they put into that match, is stunning.
Well, I shot it last year, and their mover went down at one point, and we were all sitting there. Like, it's kind of funny from a distance. It kind of looks like you should play like the Three Stooges music, They're like, the mover is like up this hill, and like you said, he had to drive above it, and then he got on the four-wheeler and drove it down a little bit, and he starts trying to mess with it, and then somebody else finally gets up there, and he runs down to try and help mess with it, and they ended up with like 4 guys working on it. But it was just kind of comical watching them, because up and down, it was, I'm sure the mover was probably in about the same place. So y'all know where that mover is, and they're,
Believe it or not, they didn't have the mover this year.
Nope.
I wonder why.
Right. But, and I can imagine, like, oh yeah, they just run down the hill, and it looks like, oh, it's, they probably just.
It's only this far.
Yeah, that's 150 feet downhill and uphill in sand and sagebrush and cacti. Like I don't know. And I guess the point I'm making, Nate and I getting the opportunity to shoot some of these other matches together. Like, you need to just look and see it. That's a crazy amount of work. I know what it takes to do that. And
Cam, the amount of trees that they bulldozed in like a year's time.
Matt, Ken, and Mark out in Pennsylvania, MKM, Matt Steiner, Ken Sinoski, and Mark McKenzie. I mean, they took the top of a mountain and like in the hills of Pennsylvania and just like topped it. Now it was like full mature trees, hardwoods, pines.
And cleared a lot.
Yeah.
Wide clearing.
There's piles of trees out there that are 40 feet high and 80 feet across. Like, how do you move that much stuff? Obviously heavy equipment, but
it's large machines.
Yeah. How do you pay for large machines, Greg?
Only
a couple of regional matches at, $40 a shooter, $60 a shooter. That doesn't even cover a half hour in heavy equipment.
Yeah. Even like tiny heavy equipment is, $300, $400, $500 a day. And that's for the stuff you can pull with a pickup truck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's less than 1% of the people who shoot the PRS who've ever been a match director, and you notice all the things nobody else notices. I remember going to the match, and when we served lunch, the silverware was wrapped and had a little bow around it. And I looked at that, and I knew how much time it took for somebody to wrap that silverware in a napkin and put a little bow around it.
Yeah.
Nobody else thought twice about that. But I'm thinking, my God, there's no telling how many hours they spend doing that, So it's a good, I've said everybody ought to have to do something similar to that once,
I run literally the tiniest, easiest little match known to man. I run a little NRL 22 match at 100 yards. I get my 5 stages printed out a month. And even that's a lot of work. So the amount of work that you guys put in is, I know is astronomical.
Greg, do you stress out about it? Like,
not really. The first two, it was a lot of stress because it was my first time ever running a match, and it was, oh my gosh, what about this? What about that? What about this? I probably called Jennifer 400 times before my first match. Hey, what do you think about this? Is 2 cases of water enough? Should I do this? Should I do that? And now, that I'm running a monthly, it's just like, oh crap, it's like 3 o'clock and I'm getting off of work. I guess I need to go set targets up. Oh crap, I forgot to grab the targets. I guess I was thinking about the house on the way home. So it gets easier the more you do it. But then also you got to, work on the not making it monotonous, not doing the same exact thing every month, even though I don't have to. That's one thing that I'd struggle with is if I had to think of 20 stages every time I ran a match, I'm not that creative. So, I have like 1 or 2 bonus stages per match. That's pretty easy to deal with, making up 1 or 2 stages. And I got a box of targets, and 22 targets last a lot longer than center fire targets. Those things seem to last forever, but still, like there's work that goes into it. And, even at my tiny little level, I can't imagine, trying to tackle something like you guys are doing.
Yeah, I'll say this too. I thought our targets were going to last forever. Nate and I bought.
I was told when I saw the bill the first time.
What did we buy, Nate? It was 2 years ago, 2019.
Yeah, it was the beginning of 2019. Yeah.
And we each bought 50 targets, maybe 40 targets,
somewhere in there. Yeah.
And it was a huge bill. Most of those targets are $50 to $100 a piece. 2019, I didn't have any target failures. It was amazing. I had some T-post failures. We were using standard T-posts. 2020, Nate and I developed a T-post that's all AR 500, has a removable hook with a clever contraption so you can take the hook off and then you can still pound the post in the ground and put the hook on. We've not had a failure at all with any of those.
Didn't you hit one of those?
Well, yeah, then
he did. That wasn't his T-post.
No, the T-post has been fine. In Wisconsin, our first target failure was at the end of last year, and I was shooting out of our doghouse that, of course, Nate made. It's a son of a bitch of a doghouse.
I hate that doghouse.
Stage 2 this year, Trailmaker.
Yeah, I might have cussed you, Nate, whenever it came to that doghouse.
It is well built too, but I'm in the doghouse sending 2 shots at the target and then move. And I had taken my first shot, and then the RO says the target just disappeared. And it was the first stage.
The target just disappeared.
It was the first match that we had with these new T-posts. And I'm like, oh my God, our T-post failed. And we'd had several $1,000s in these T-posts. So I got the 4-wheeler side by side, whatever, run down range. And it was just a target that broke. It was a 10-inch circle or something like that. So I quickly grab another one, hang it up, finish the stage, yada, match goes on. Well, then that was the first of one. They're 3/8-inch AR 500 we bought from JC Steel. And then this year we had a match that our PRS skill stage, at a monthly match, we had 120 shooters there. I replaced the 10-inch circle 3 times. It was like every third squad, the target would just crack right off the hook. And it's like, well, yeah, these things have got,
3
I don't
years.
know, yeah, 5,000, 7,000 rounds on them.
We run 120 shooters at our monthly matches.
Yeah, they just get pounded.
Like hell of a monthly match.
Yeah, we have an amazing crowd up here, but with that crowd, our steel doesn't survive. So it's like, I don't know, we bought a few thousand. I went to all 1/2-inch thick now. Bought another few $1,000s in steel. That hopefully will last more than 2 years. I don't know.
Oh, I'm not believing anything you said, so it's
doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah,
that's wild. I am not looking forward to. Well, my targets are a heck of a lot.
Yeah.
Well, got some echo there. Anyway, what match are you guys shooting for the rest of the year?
Ken's shooting the Okie one, and then I think we're both shooting the grind.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So far we went out to Pennsylvania this spring, right?
Yep. April shot the April Peterson cartridge match.
That's a fun match.
That looks like a fun match.
Yeah. I felt like it felt like I don't know, good Midwest. We knew most of the shooters there. That goes a long way with me, I think. Like knowing who you're shooting with and what you're doing. And it was a really well thought out match. Steiner did a good job. Ken did a good job.
We had good crews from both Wisconsin and Michigan head over, so that was super fun.
Yeah.
And then taking the family on the road.
Yeah, it was good. We shot the Utah match we talked about. Yeah, I feel really blessed this year that I've gotten to shoot as much as I have. I'm starting to run out of bullets, but OP Summer Showdown at the end of August after the Barrel Maker, right before Nate's Great Lakes match, and then we'll all go down to the grind and shoot that together. And I'll say this: I've been shooting production rifle this year. I decided to handicap myself. One of the best rifles ever made, I guess. I shoot a Gap PPR with a Collis 624 on there, which hardly qualifies as a production rifle. I'll admit that. It's been so much fun.
Thank you for admitting that. I'm about to ask, with the way you said that, I was like, it's either going to be a Gap gun or an MPA rifle, one of the two.
Man, I get why they did it, and I think it's amazing that I'll say the organization of our sport and the industry supporters, the companies, are now, because of the growth of the sport and the maturity of the sport and where we're at today, it's amazing that for $2,500 you can get that much rifle.
Yeah.
Paul, a rifle of that caliber, custom action, a cut rifle, Bartline barrel, and a Manor stock. You can't build that for $2,500.
No, you can't. The parts I build my rifles out of cost more than that.
Yeah.
So. And they still pay, and most people don't know this, they still pay an excise tax on that. That's 11% that just goes to the government. So for $24.99, they're still able to offer that. Like, I think that's just it's a sign of where our sport is, that the companies that contributed product to that rifle, like, believe in what we're doing enough to be able to lower their margins and lower the prices and be able to offer something of that caliber. Like, we're pretty blessed, It's an amazing opportunity. So that's pretty much why I shoot it, and think Shoots Lights Out. I was able to take top production in Pennsylvania with it, shot production in our region with it, and have done really well. And if anybody's looking to get into the sport, man, look at one of those custom builds, either from Gap or PA, even Savage, that they're stealth. Like, that's just the way to go, honestly.
Yeah, I'm about to say, so, like, I wasn't surprised when the MPA or the Gap rifle turned out to be amazing. We all know that they're pretty much losing money on this. Like, there's no way they're not losing money on how much of a rifle you're getting for the money. But the Savage is one that really impressed me for being something that is mass produced, not to meet a standard. It's not a perfect rifle. It's not the same as an $8,000 custom build, but the 2 times that I've shot that rifle, the accuracy of it has just absolutely blown me away.
Yeah, I think for anybody getting into the sport, that's the only route to go. I have an open rifle, or my open rifle, whatever, and the only thing that I like more about that is it's in a Manners TCS versus the T4A, which is like so minute. They both had trigger techs in it. It's insane.
Dude, those things are awesome. I love them.
Exactly.
So it's got to have a pile of those sitting around.
Yeah. So Nate, talk about the grind.
Actually, that I'm surprised I'm going. I conned my wife into going to the grind. And it's going to be the first match she ever shot too. So, but that's kind of the whole intent, right? So, Ken wasn't going to be going, and I just kept kind of harassing on Missy and whatnot. And finally, eventually, I don't know why I'm the barrier here. It is his lack of vacation time and using it all for matches. That is the problem. I never said no. Well, so anyway, turns out Ken's coming now, but because Ken tends to be an asshole, Missy is not going to be shooting with him.
Never.
Ken tends to say stuff like, would you stop just wasting my ammo and things of that nature?
Oh, wait, we need to hear this story. There's a story there, and we need to hear it.
Yeah, there was a story. I was trying to get on target, and I was having a hell of a time, and thought I was correcting in all the ways that I needed to, and I started to ask for feedback, and the feedback I got was, would you just stop wasting ammo?
So was that your smartest move ever, Ken?
Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
There's a whole lot underneath the waterline on that.
Oh, wow.
We shot a match this last weekend, our local match by somebody else, another MD, Brian, but
not in the same squad.
We didn't squad together. That was good. Yeah, we have another shooter, Andy Mugrage, who is an amazing coach.
Yeah.
So
River City Rifles.
Yeah, River City Rifles. Good stuff in Northern Illinois. He coaches Missy. He coaches everybody. Amazing. Yeah. He's coached me.
He does training awesome in our areas. He's a phenomenal coach.
So, Andy, you shoot with Missy. I'm going to shoot 2 squads away.
I was about to say, a lot of people do not do well learning from or teaching their spouse.
No, absolutely not. I used to teach tactical pistol classes. I've taught thousands of people to shoot pistol. And if I had a husband and wife show up in the class, I put them on opposite ends of the firing line, and they were not even allowed to speak to each other because I never saw it work ever. Right. It's just something about the ability to kind of just blank out that voice that your spouse has. You can just turn it off. And so I never saw it work, but don't feel bad. Ken, you're not alone.
The Lilies that did the video, I think the Lilies did a video where she's like shooting a barricade and he comes over and is like, so babe, next time just try. She's like, don't try and tell me what to do. And like 2 seconds later, another guy comes up and is like, hey, Keely, next time you might want to try like putting the other knee up. And she's like, oh, thank you so much for that tip. And he's like standing in the background like, that, like the same exact thing. But it's so true and it's so funny.
But that's where he falls short, though. It's not the same message.
You know, with Ken and Missy,
stop wasting my ammo.
With Ken and Missy, it would be, can you tell me what I need to do here? Ken would be like, shut up, I'm busy. Oh, I'm writing my dope down. Shut up.
No, I would be like, okay, so this is what happened, and he'd be like, stop sucking. Like
teaching maybe is not your forte.
That's bad.
I will not let him coach children.
Everybody cannot be an awesome match director and a good teacher, Ken. I'm just saying.
Some of the best shooters in the PRS don't teach. They will tell you, Matt Brousseau will tell you he don't teach. He doesn't have the patience for it. He doesn't understand why everybody can shoot like he shoots in 5 minutes training. And so you don't have to be the best at something to be a good teacher. So I've always felt like I was probably a better coach than I was a shooter. So, you know, so you guys have got this whole MDT Great Lakes PSC thing. Tell us what, when, where, what's going to happen. What can we expect? Who sponsored it?
So that one is the Michigan match. That's September 17 through 19. It's up in Lake City, which is the northern lower peninsula. Kind of just, I would say halfway between the center line of the Mitten and the west coast of Lake Michigan, right there at the top, kind of pretty close to where your ring finger, your middle of your ring finger is, I guess, if we're going to use the Mitten. It is split between two properties. We've got Marksmanship Training Center, which is like about 160, 170 acres. We got shooting lanes there that go out to about 1054, and then a second one goes out to 1030. That place, we've actually got a rimfire range that they put in this summer. And on Friday, there's going to be a rimfire mini match for anybody that wants to shoot it. And then our second location is a tree farm that's about 3 miles down the road. And that's about 200 acres. We shot there last year, and they had probably had maybe a quarter of the property still had trees on it. They've since pretty much cleared all of the trees off. So we've now got the whole 200 acres to work with. And basically the way the match runs is we'll kind of have a midday rotation where it'll shoot, 5 stages at one location, and then everybody flip-flops. It worked out really well last year. There were some people that were a little bit skeptical, but it actually runs really smooth. And it gives everybody an opportunity to grab their lunch as they're doing their transition, which works out really well for us logistically. Let's see. So we also are running a Friday club match at that same tree farm. It starts, I think, I don't have the timeline right in front of me, but I think that kicks off at noon. Once that's over with, there's a welcome dinner on Friday, which is actually sponsored by Bartline. They're also covering breakfast on Saturday. Of course, key sponsor, obviously, MDT. They actually reached out to me this year, noticing that I did not have a title sponsor. Big thank you to Keith Baker and Matt Steiner on this one. They actually recommended them. They were looking for another match to do, and they wanted to get closer to the East Coast. And they said, you're not going to go wrong with the Great Lakes match. So they reached out, and they're actually really helping me quite a bit this year. So I'm not going to actually lose my rear end cost-wise. But they're covering lunch on Saturday, dinner on Sunday. They're putting a whole bunch of stuff on the prize table. They're putting some beanie caps in the shooter bags because mid-September in Upper Michigan could get a little bit squirrely weather-wise.
I would need a
flag
beanie,
in.
I'm just saying.
Say again?
I would need a beanie, I'm just saying.
Well, we got one for you. So when you come up, we'll have a beanie for you. Other sponsors, Trigicon is our optics sponsor. It's another Michigan-based company. Not a lot of people know that, but they put 3 of their new 10-mile scopes on the prize table. That's pretty nice scopes. We've got one of their older versions on our demo gun, and it has been rock solid reliable. They're also picking up dinner on Saturday. They're going to have a product display and demo Friday and Saturday. Loophole is actually out of nowhere said, hey, we want to buy the beer for the weekend. So Loophole is picking up all the beer. And then my good buddy Eddie at Fosnot Custom Rifles, he's picking up breakfast on Sunday. His wife actually wanted to buy us 2 mover sets, and Eddie said no. So unfortunately, they're not going to be our mover sponsor because Eddie's a tightwad, and his wife wanted to throw it to us. But actually, I'm throwing Eddie under the bus right now. It's not true.
Just a little bit.
That's not true at all. Squatting is actually going to open for the match on Monday, the 26th. So anybody that's thinking they might want to come out, you might want to go ahead and get registered as soon as possible.
That's what I was about to ask. You have slots open still?
Yes. Yeah. We got quite a few slots left open. To be honest, it is kind of an out of the way match. You got a lake that's in the way in, 3 or 4 directions. So it does take a bit to get there, but a lot of people have been combining it with like a family vacation. Traverse City is a really great area to be in Michigan, and we're probably 45 to 55 minutes from there. A lot of people are taking their families to Traverse City for vacation and then come shooting the match. I think there's also a big run on fish this time of year. Ken, what fish is that? Is that muskie?
No. Great Lakes. Yeah, it'd be out the Great Lakes, like steelhead.
Yeah, something like that. There's a big run for fish. Keith Baker comes up for a week, goes fishing, then shoots.
Up there.
And the stages will be, of course, pretty similar to what we run at the Barrel Maker. I tend, like Ken said, to kind of get a little bit more into the weeds on making you think a little bit, though I've dialed that back. Mostly nowadays, what I'm focusing on, if you're going to have to think, you're going to have to plan like how you're attacking the stage. Like you're going to have to like, all right, what order am I going to have to actually shoot these positions in? And, you're going to have to figure that out for yourself.
I don't remember what stage it was, but there was a stage last year at the Barrel Maker. It was the one that's like this frame that we had to crawl up.
Yeah.
All I remember is me coming off of that stage like blah 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 blah, and Ken going, "It's Nate's fault. That one's Nate's fault. Go cuss Nate out. That's on him." That's all I remember about it. I don't even remember what it was I didn't like. I just remember.
Yeah, Ken was at work and Nate was building some props at her house. I was working from home. I've been working from home since March of 2020, and I'm just hearing sawing and everything out in the driveway.
I gave Nate our debit card.
Yeah, here's our debit card. Go to Home Depot and get whatever you need.
Prop deal.
Because he's got one that's like a third of the size of the one he did for us. So I like
one of them.
On my lunch break, I go out there to see what he's doing, and I'm taking up our driveway. And I'm what exactly is he doing? Like, something about this. Oh, he's building a prop. Okay, well, if you know about this, that's fine. We live a half an hour away from the Highlands. So the only thing that was big enough for us to get it up there was a pontoon boat trailer.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge.
And it was still in pieces when we lugged it up there. Oh my gosh, it was so bad.
I've got this, you could say maybe it's a bad habit, maybe it's a good habit. Anytime I make a second of a prop, I make it better. So like, maybe like the doghouse, the Ken's doghouse, that was, I made that first.
You had to make it smaller.
Well, I didn't make it smaller. I made Ken's entirely out of like 2x4s. I made mine out of 1x4s, so it's a lot lighter weight, so it's easier to move around. It just so happens Ken got the second version of the Albatross, and I went a little bit big on it. So you're welcome.
I was like, I have to climb up that with my rifle?
Yep. Imagine we moved it again. Yeah. It's moved twice since the Barrel Maker last year.
That's impressive.
It's something else to try to move it. It's big A-frame. Well, I don't know, what, 6x6s or something?
Yeah, 6x6s and landscaping timbers.
When this thing was wet, I bet it weighed all 1,500 pounds. The wood is dried out now, so it's maybe like 800 pounds.
Isn't it funny how that happens?
Isn't it?
I built like this awesome tank trap that was the perfect size for like all of my shooters, and like, all the positions were good and stable. And a year and a half later, you put your rifle on one end of it and it just kind of falls because it weighs half of what it used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It always starts out so simply. I bet I built 24 barricades out of 4x8 sheets of plywood with 2x4 separate them, and you cut holes in them. I guarantee you I built 24 of them. And they started out easy and simple, but they just got bigger and more complex and more expensive and heavier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a system. Don't be ashamed of it.
Yep. So back to the Great Lakes. a lot of the stages that I run, I do focus on. Ken says, he does some stuff with movement and whatnot. I think when Ken generally talks about movement, he's talking about like, kind of moving from this position to this position. And you're not moving a lot of distance. A lot of times I like to throw in movement where you're moving a lot of distance or you're having to move somewhere quickly. And I think a lot of people have kind of noticed that. I've had people make those remarks like, yeah, I see you kind of draw from your military experience with the way you have your stages where, you're making people do a lot of like distance movement or things of that nature. And I get into speed, accuracy stuff. I ran a really fun stage this weekend that just absolutely ate people's lunch. It was shooting our KYL rack off of this other little prop I made with timbers. And it was at 328 yards. And there were 6 different positions. You had the opportunity to get 8 points on it. You moved after every time you fired, whether you hit or not. If you missed, you went one step back to the next largest target. So that way you're not fighting this little itty bitty target and not getting any points. So you're getting the opportunity, you go back to the next biggest target. That stage, that stage really tore people up. I think Chad Heckler had the high score with 8 on it. And it was a tough earned 8. But that's kind of the type of stuff that I like to run. The stage gave everybody an opportunity. Even if you were not a very good shooter, you're going to get 2 or 3 on it. A brand new shooter is going to get 2 or 3 because that first plate is what, 8 inches, Ken?
8 or 10.
8 or 10 inches at 328. So you're going to get a few impacts on it. Yeah. But to clean the stage is going to be, you're going to have everything into it if you're going to clean the stage, and nobody actually cleaned it. So
yeah, and that's what I think you can expect out of our matches. I put a lot of thought into what the barrel maker will be this year, and really making people think and having to understand like what's the next target you're going to and how you're going to get there and how you're going to take that shot. Yeah, that's where I think we knocked it out of the park last year at the Great Lakes match. I think that was our best match to date, where we had everything balanced really well. I'll say this too: the 200-acre tree farm. It's mostly rolling hills and sand and dirt and whatever. But if you were to buy 200 acres to run a K&M type facility or a match on, this was the perfect 200 acres. Like, it's all slopes up and away from you for 1,300 yards, 1,400 yards or something like that, with lots of little bunkers and hidden valleys and stuff like that. It's an amazing place to host a match. And yeah, we're pretty blessed to be able to go back there and do that again this year.
Tons and tons of micro terrain.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, I haven't checked out the other property yet. Next year, it's going to have to move because they're going to be replanting this property next year. But it's going to go to a 400-acre parcel that I'm expecting is going to be of similar terrain. So that won't be a split match. It'll be a little bit too far away from MTC to run it split, but it'll be 400 acres, and it should be similar terrain. So it's going to give us an opportunity to run a very similar match. And it's also given us the opportunity to keep the venue different, which I personally, a lot of people like being able to have that consistency. I like being able to shoot different locations. So for me to be able to run the same match at a different location every couple years, that I'm really excited to be able to do that.
Well, it gets to where if you have the same match at the same location, I mean, it's fun, but you can predict it. So like, right. There is a home field advantage. There just is. If you have shot at that range multiple times and you kind of know, like, I'm trying to not say a particular place so I don't want anybody to get upset, but like, at this particular range, the wind 9 times out of 10 is coming left or right, always. Mm-hmm. And that at 600 yards, it's this way, but at 800, there's a little draft that comes through that changes, that it's going to be different. If you know all those things at that range, you're going to have an advantage over somebody that's never shot at that range. I don't care. And so to me, yeah, it's cool to be able to ace the test, but I guess I've never really aced it, so I'm not really sure.
You go someplace.
I think it'd be cool. I would think it'd be cool if I could do it. But I also think it's really cool to go somewhere totally new and have to learn it and figure it out. And it's fun. And that's why I've tried every year. This year, it might not be in the cards just because life changes. But I've tried every year to do a match that was different, which is how I ended up in Wisconsin and how I ended up in Wyoming, because I wanted to try some matches that were totally different than anything I had ever done. And to me, that's fun. So I think it's cool that you're changing up the location and kind of putting a little twist into, still your match, but it's different.
Yep.
Yeah. I was about to say, I know there's some places where, we were talking about movers earlier, I know I hold 1.1 on the movers at K&M, both of them. That's all I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, K&M is an awesome facility, but to Jen's point, there are things predictable, like the first couple stages on the end there, 1,200 yards, you're going to be fighting Mirage, period.
When you get on top of those towers and anything past, I think it's 600 yards, there's that other gully that kind of runs into the range, and that's where your wind's going to shift.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't. Nate's matches, you on top of everything else to juggle, it's going to be different. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would love to see for the barrel maker this year, one of our local Wisconsin guys just crush it. I think we have a lot of guys that have been shooting really well. On our home field that it could make a pretty good impact, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Any sort of weather or anything it's anybody's game,
I got to get to the Michigan match next, though, because I've done Wisconsin twice. So.
Come on up. Sign up. Come on up. We'll get you a hat. We'll even get you a blanket.
Oh, you'll get me a blanket? What about a heater?
We could probably get you a heater. I'll run an extension cord over to your car.
Right. I just need somebody to walk around with a heater for me. No, I would like to get up there. It probably won't be this year, but I'm probably going to put that on my list of wish list of matches, because I definitely think it'd be a fun one.
We'd like to have you.
Yeah, and all the same northern friends would be there.
Yep.
I know all my friends have been texting me, you gotta come see us. I'm like, I know. So I got adopted by Garrett G and Aaron and Sam. All adopted me the first year when I came up there and didn't know anybody, and I was like, I don't know where I'm going. And they said something about having to drive through a creek, which I didn't know what a creek was. Apparently it's a creek, but up there they call it a creek, which is down here what you get in your neck, not a running body of water. But anyway, so they adopted me by helping me get where I needed to go and all that. So great people up there.
They're good folks.
They are.
Yeah.
Greg, do we have any lives? I mean, I've kind of monitored the lives for a bit, and there's been a lot of humor there.
I was about to say, we have a ton of lives.
But any actual questions, or just Swanee telling Ken to stop talking so much?
I'm about to say, so to sum it up, everybody loves the flag. Everybody thinks all three of you are amazing people. Cheese is awesome. Swanee's funny. And we should all go and shoot your match.
Better lawnmower.
Yeah, that's
Look at this guy.
Oh, dude, that is so sweet.
That is very cool.
Yeah, our members actually got that for us at the end of our big season in 2019. So when we really grew it from when it was running on that small range and having 30 to 40 people a month at our matches to 100 that year, and all the props and expanding the field of fire. It was really a lot. And our members, we have such amazing members for our club, and they really recognize that, and they got us that for the end of our season. And Nate also got one.
They got one too.
For Michigan.
Yeah, I got to give thanks to him. I don't have it hung up in here, but
that was also noted in the live comments.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I don't have it up behind me.
Yep. Yeah, we had the issue with Nate's match. He got that fixed where if you go onto the PRS website, you will now get to you can get a direct link to signing up for his match. And that pretty much sums up the lives.
Yeah.
No questions for us.
No questions, but lots of props.
Yeah, good.
Do a good job of giving all the information. See, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as Ken talks, everybody ought to know what to do.
Exactly. Thank you.
I don't think I normally talk this much, but no.
Love you.
Diarrhea mouth.
Just kidding.
There were also comments about the missing mustache also, and the cute matching shirts.
You know what really was the tip of the iceberg for me?
What, him shaving the mustache or growing it?
No, when I was tired of the Lorax, is that I got to a point where I was like, do you realize how good he is all the time?
Yeah.
Because he stopped smiling.
No,
you would smirk because you there was nothing to show, so he would just, and it was like, I'm just so tired. Like you have a wonderful smile, and I would like to kiss your lips.
What was funny though, and this happened out in Pennsylvania, and it happened out in Utah, where guys I haven't seen in 6 months or a year, they had no idea who I am. Matt Bartain's girlfriend, Donna. You know, I know her on Facebook. We message and stuff, and then I see him out there in Utah. I go up and I give them both a big hug, and she had no idea who I was.
I went through a similar experience a couple of years ago. After having this mustache since I was 22 years old, I'm a retired fire captain. I've had it my whole life. I shaved it off. And even like guys were like, no, you look like shit. You need to grow that back.
Hold on. Jen, mustache question. Does Paul's mustache not look identical to the one that Corey had for a little while? And it looks like Paul does not look like a creepy, really weird person with that mustache on, but Corey 100%
looked creepy with that mustache.
He looked so creepy with that mustache.
Van with free candy written on the side.
Ooh, free candy?
Paul
like it looks almost professional on Paul, and it is the identical mustache.
But he trims it, so Ken did not touch his.
Yeah,
and he would comb it. He had a routine. He'd comb and like curl, so it just kind of go to the side. I was over it. Sorry, everyone. Look at his face every day.
Yeah.
If you all want to have Ken grow a mustache, you're welcome to do his laundry and live with him. But Missy says as long as she's doing that, the mustache had to go. So is that it for the lives?
Yeah, I think I summed up pretty good.
The answer to Adam's question that he recently asked here is no.
Nate Whitehead.
Wait, what did he ask?
Can I bring Jamie Jones to the Michigan match?
Oh. Jamie came to the Barrel Maker last year. He was a lot of fun there.
Yes, he was wonderful at the Barrel Maker. There's a conflict in personalities. We're just going to leave it at that.
That's a good, yeah. Just leave it at that.
Yeah, he needed to get along. That's fine.
We're going to be the Shooter's Mindset and not the ARS or the Behind the 59 or whatever all those meme page wars thing is. We're just going to.
Behind the 59. Look that up.
I do one thing. Two things actually I want to mention real quick about our match, just to circle back real quickly. There is going to be information email that's going to be coming out for all the shooters here in the next couple of days, but I don't know if you've seen the post from Applied Ballistics. If you're interested in doing that on Friday, you need to reach out to Amanda Wheeler to sign up, or just let her know that you're interested. She can get you all the pre-paperwork. And then if you are interested in camping, either with a camper or a tent, and you have not reached out to me to reserve your spot, I need you to do that as well. Oh, and third announcement, if you're an AG shooter, please bring cash. That's also in the emails, but I know you guys don't like to read them. So
and for people that are super slacking, are their spots still open?
Oh.
Are you kidding me? No, we sold out in 5 days.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
We opened May 1st and May 6th. We had all the spots spoken for, and then
we have a very long wait list, and we have people. It pains me because we have people that we know that are wonderful shooters that have been on the wait list, and it's like every once in a while it's like, oh, we had a spot free up, and I'll go look, and it's like, oh my gosh, that person is still number 6 on the wait list. And they're so great about trying to check in and see, do you think there's even a chance? And it breaks my heart to turn people away. But it's also at the same time extremely humbling that we're in the position we're in, that we sold out as quickly as we did, and we have as many shooters coming to our event. So go shoot Nate's instead.
Hell yeah.
Please.
But is there wine there?
I can bring it.
Well, there can be. There can be wine.
I'll bring the wine.
Yeah. All right, we got a deal.
Real quickly, Nate, do you need ROs for your match?
Yeah, actually I haven't put any solicitations out yet, but definitely, if you'd like to come out in RO, we're going to feed you for the weekend. You're going to walk on the prize table. You get half off the barrel maker for next year's match.
So another way that we partner with each other is that if you RO for the barrel maker, you'll get half off Nate's match and vice versa.
Ooh.
Oh, and you get to shoot the Friday club match for free. So if you want to RO, shoot me an email, please, nate@prschallenge.com.
I had to go run and get this. So
literally ran.
I did.
I just heard.
Yeah.
Ken's gone.
Check out this. Hopefully you can see that.
Oh, sweet.
It says consent.
I bought all these for our ROs this year.
Dude, that's like literally the greatest bag ever.
Yep, medium game changer with Wisconsin logo. So thank you. That's a surprise.
But seriously, we cannot do what we do without you and your support. And we understand that there's so many of you that, like Nate's, with it being a destination, we have ROs that are traveling from out of state just to RO our event. And especially when you're hosting, as you guys are saying, the caliber of the shooters and the expectations and the personalities and the stakes are high. And we need to ensure that we're putting the right ROs at the right stages and able to do the job we need them to do. And it's really just so wonderful when we get those types of people that want to come and do this and help support us. And we really try to do as much as we can to try to pay it forward to you as well. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, if that's all the lives, I think we can wind it down to shout outs. Greg, you usually start us.
All right. So I want to start off shouting out a young man down in Texas. He shoots Prentice Winks matches all the time. He's kind of became a staple at the matches. His father, he is 7 years old, and his father passed away on July 4th. He was buried Monday, and this boy came out and shot 84.2% of the winner on Saturday. Prentice and several other people are working up things to kind of do to help this kid out. I've shared one post on the Shooter's Mindset. Make sure to check it out. And there's several other people pretty big in the industry that are working on things to, kind of, since he lost his father, who's kind of the sole provider for their family, his shooting family stepping in and is taking over, kind of helping them out a little bit. So check that post out. There's a winner, or there's a, what's it called? Kind of a
GoFundMe or something.
It's a contest. You pay $10. Every $10 you're entered to win. I forgot what scope it is. I'm horrible with stuff like this. But you get to win a really nice scope. So check that out on the Shooter's Mindset. There's going to be several other things coming, or TX Precision's
or what is it? TX Precision Matches on Facebook. So check that out. Then other shout outs, obviously GSL suppressors, as I just beat my Dylan with my Bergara. Awesome suppressors, make your 22s and like dead silent and other things really quiet. Shooters and Sharpshooters of Augusta, our local indoor and outdoor ranges, PDC Customs. I was really lazy. It's not back there like it normally is, my beautiful green rifle. Shooters World Propellant, Hunters HD Gold, Fix It 6. If you need a discount on like these super awesome tools, hit me up. And Vortec, because you got to clean these rifles sometime.
Sounds good. How about you, Paul? You got any shout outs?
I'm good. I'll just repeat what I said earlier. Krieger Bartline, best barrels in the world.
Thank you. I agree.
Nate, you got any shout outs?
Yeah. Mainly to my sponsors from Michigan, Swanee, Eddie Fosnot, Chad Heckler, 5x5. He's making some pretty nice guns these days. Turgicon, PDC Customs that you mentioned, Michigan guy. He actually put the chassis on our demo gun. I think that's all of our Michigan sponsors. Yeah.
All right, Wheelers, what you got?
Obviously, all the barrel makers. That's an easy one.
Yeah. And then additional club sponsors. We have MEC, sponsor.
Yeah, MAC, Shotgun Company, mostly sporting goods. Yeah.
Yeah. Boomer's Firearms out of beautiful Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Thank you, Matt Graham, for everything you do for us. River City Rifles, Andy Mugrage, and Tuber Precision, which is out of Michigan. They also are sponsor for our club members.
Can't believe I forgot Matt. Sorry. Big shout out to Matt. My bad, dude.
Shout out to Nate's wife, Lisa.
Yeah. Big shout out to my wife. She rocks everything. Thank you, Missy. Sorry, Lisa.
I'll give three. We have a hell of a crowd that helps us set up all this stuff. But Corey Reynolds, Ted Schluer, and Jeff Johnson, these guys just give up night after night after night, or early Saturday or Sunday mornings to come out and pound posts and weed whack and mow and do all of it. I can't do it here without those guys. Ted works at MEC and gets a lot of leeway from them, MEC, to come help. Jeff is at Bartline Barrels. He's a production supervisor. Awesome company, awesome dude. And Corey's a friend of ours. He actually works for Milwaukee Tool, but they need to sponsor us. Yeah, all awesome dudes.
So, enough of their tools.
Yeah.
Girl, Ken's like, wait a minute, they need to sponsor us.
Yeah, call
them. Yes, he just gives me something to do.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Thank you so much to all of our members.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Y'all kind of seem to be like a big happy family with your clubs, which is really cool to see. So,
yeah.
I think we have wonderful camaraderie too, even with our shooters, the Michigan and Wisconsin guys, because they'll come a lot. I think there's more Wisconsin guys that go shoot Michigan than the other way around. But they all know each other pretty well, and they'll see each other other 2 days as well. And it's a healthy amount of harassment.
Harassment is good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, I just want to shout y'all out for coming and spending, now it's been like 2.5 hours since we logged on. So for spending that much time with us, it's been a 2-hour show. So thank y'all so much for everything you do for the sport and having the matches. I know it's really grown up there, and it's largely because of the three of y'all. So thank y'all for everything that you do for the sport, and thank you for coming on and sharing it with us. And if you need anything else, let the Shooter's Mindset know, and we'll try and help promote y'all and get you out there. But just thank you for spending your time. And with that, it'll be a wrap for episode 343.